everyone, so today I'm here to do a bit of a different video, but it is one that I've been planning on doing all semester. And that is my Semester of Shakespeare video. Basically, I took a Shakespeare class this semester, and I really enjoyed myself. I've always been a really big fan of Shakespeare. I've done it quite a few times in school. I feel like I did a Shakespeare play every single year from like 6th grade to senior year, and I've always really enjoyed Shakespeare. I feel like I was a person who could read it pretty well even at a young age, and I always just really enjoyed it. So obviously when I became an English major, the first class I signed up for was Shakespeare. In this class, we read a total of 8 plays, and I'm going to basically just talk about the plays, my feelings on them, my opinions, my favorites, my least favorites, kind of just an overall discussion about Shakespeare. So I only have 5 of the plays here with me right now, but the order that we read them in was Titus Andronicus. Yes, we actually read that one. A Midsummer Night's Dream, Henry IV Part 1, and then Henry VI Part 1, Twelfth Night, Hamlet, Othello, and then The Winter's Tale. So I'm going to kind of give just a brief overview of how I felt about each of these plays. So firstly, Titus Andronicus. I had never even heard of this play. Like, I never heard of Titus Andronicus. Who has read Titus Andronicus? Like, what? It blew me away. Like, I was so shocked at how much I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I freaking loved it. I wrote my paper on it. It was so good in like a bad way. It was ridiculous. The plot was insane. The plot devices that were used were insane. The characters were so they were caricatures, not real characters. And I just really enjoyed kind of like the gray area of, was Shakespeare trying to be serious with this tragedy, or is it supposed to be so ridiculous it's actually a comedy? I really enjoyed that because I think I enjoy tragic comedies the most out of any kind of like play genre. So I really enjoyed Titus Andronicus. If you don't know what it is, Titus Andronicus is about a man named Titus Andronicus who has 26 sons and 1 daughter. And basically, I believe this is Romans. They're in Rome. And they have captured a couple of people from the Goths, which is Queen Tamora and her sons, and Aaron, and all of this stuff, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. Titus Andronicus's 1 daughter, Lavinia, gets her tongue cut out and her arms cut off, and then like just so many people die for no reason. Some people get baked into a pie. It's a really entertaining story, but again, very like much characters that are not real. Like, they are not real people at all. But I really enjoyed just like the discussion of, is this supposed to be legit? I also like this one because this has the best scene in all of Shakespeare, the fly scene. The fly scene, it basically, Titus Andronicus and his brother are sitting at a table doing some talking, and his brother kills a fly, and Titus Andronicus throws a fucking fit over killing this fly, and what if the fly had a mom and a dad? Why'd you kill the fly? And Marcus is like, oh no, it was a black fly, so it reminded me of Aaron, who's like the bad guy, so that's why I killed him. And Titus Andronicus is like, oh, okay. Best scene in all of Shakespeare. Best scene. And then we read A Midsummer Night's Dream, which was my favorite Shakespeare play before coming to this class. I think it's still my favorite comedy, but I love Midsummer Night's Dream. It's like such a classic Shakespeare. It is about 4 young people who basically just get caught in a huge web of magic and love and just utter insanity, and it's a wonderfully heartfelt book and has some amazingly witty and quirky Shakespeare lines. And of course, my favorite line from this play is, though she be but little, she is fierce, which is what Helena says to Hermia, and I feel like everyone uses it as like this like feminist, like, yeah, power, fierceness, and I'm like, it's Helena like making fun of how small Hermia is. The next one that we read was King Henry IV Part 1, which I just did not care for this book at all. I really did not like care that much about it. I think I gave it like a 2.5 out of 5 stars. I really don't have that much to say on it. I kind of ignored that we did this one. I like didn't write about it in any essays. I didn't even write about it on my tests or anything. So yeah, we're just gonna ignore that one. Same with this next one. We did King Henry VI part 1, and I just did not care about this at all. I think I don't like history plays that much. Like, I don't know, I just find them boring, especially because like when you're reading a play, you can't see the action that's happening. Especially in Shakespeare's play, there's not many stage directions, so it's like we're hearing about these grand battles, but we don't actually get to see them, and I feel like that's the entertaining part of the play. So yeah, I'm just not a big fan of history plays. And then we did Twelfth Night, which I really enjoyed. Twelfth Night, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. This was the first time I'd read this one, which was really exciting. And we didn't do that much with this one, that's why it doesn't have that many tabs, except for we spent so long on the quote, "How will this fadge?" I don't know why. But yeah, this is kind of just a very entertaining comedy because we have in it a girl. Okay, well, first off, there's a ship that goes down, and then twins, a boy and a girl, get separated, etc. Viola, who's the girl, ends up in a court, and she, who in Shakespeare's time would be played by a boy who is dressed up as a girl to be Viola, she then has to dress up as a boy. So we have a young boy who's dressed up as a girl dressing up as a boy. It's very entertaining. And then of course the Duchess has to fall in love with Viola, who's dressed up as a boy. It's so funny. It's so fun. It's very light-hearted. The only thing that this has a character that I always just feel bad for in the end, which is Malvolio. He just gets wronged for no reason. And of course this has some of the best characters in Feste and Sir Toby and Sir Andrew and what was his name? Agacheek. And yeah, this is the quote we spent the longest time on. How will this fadge? And it wasn't on the final, pissed off. But yeah, this was a very, very enjoyable comedy. Really, I really like this one. And then we did Hamlet. Hamlet, I feel like, is probably the play that this class changed my opinion about the most. I don't know how many people actually do Hamlet in high school. I thought everyone did Hamlet in high school because it was such a big thing in my high school that you did Hamlet. So I don't really know how many people did it in high school, but I think I did it like 3 times in high school. Between high school and middle school, I did this play so many times, and every single time my teachers taught it as Hamlet is this angsty 16-year-old boy with daddy issues, and it's like a love story between him and Ophelia. That's not what Hamlet's about. And it took me until doing this class to realize that, because we never read the full play. This is a big Shakespeare play. In high school, we never did the full play. We'd only read like snippets of it. And they made it into this love story between Hamlet and Ophelia, like a Romeo and Juliet. And when we actually read the real thing, I was like, wow, this is really good. I think I originally had this at like a 2-star because it was like another Romeo and Juliet to me. But now I think I put it at like a 4 or 5-star. I really enjoyed this. Hamlet, if you didn't know, he's like 40. He's like a man, and that's what makes his characterization so interesting, because he is a man character, but he acts like a freaking child, and you watch his growth in this book. I don't know why Ophelia was always such a like centerpiece of my high school reading of this, but she's like barely in it. And yeah, this obviously has some iconic things like to be or not to be, and Hamlet talking to Yorick's skull. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio. And this one was just a lot of fun to do because I found myself literally feeling like I was reading the play for the first time, even though I have read it so many times. So I really ended up enjoying this one. And then we did Othello, which I don't love Othello that much. I did it in high school because it was my high school teacher's favorite play. I just don't find it that interesting. My professor this semester describes it as a domestic tragedy because it is very like domestic. It's about like a husband and wife who actually like each other and like all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I wrote my entire essay about like the doubt in Othello and like Iago putting this doubt in him. The only good character in this book is Iago and Emilia. Emilia is amazing. But the only interesting character is Iago and Emilia. So I just didn't care that much for the main characters, which is probably definitely a hindrance on my enjoyment. I just didn't like Othello that much, and I also just didn't care that much for Desdemona. I just found them really boring. I don't know why. But like, yeah, the psychology behind this book is really interesting, but just reading it as like a book, I didn't like it that much. So I give it like a 3 out of 5 stars. And then the last book we did was The Winter's Tale, another one that I had never read before, and I quite enjoyed. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. This one is a tragicomedy, which is my favorite genre, I'm gonna say. I would say tragicomedies are my favorite genre. I really like the balance between a tragicomedy. I really like just the difference, literally the stark difference between the beginning of this book and the second half of this book. I really liked Perdita. I really liked Leontes, even though we're not supposed to like Leontes. I wrote my paper on Leontes. And I really liked just some of like iconic quotes that came out of this. Like, while thou hadst met with those things dying, I was met with things newborn. And that was by The Shepherd, and that's literally like the exact line turning point of the tragicomedy. I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I just thought it was very, very fun. I think I definitely like comedies more than tragedies, so that is probably why I liked this book, because I do like the endings of comedies a lot more. I would just think tragedies are a bit extra with how many people are dead on the stage at the end of them. But yeah, those are all of the books that we read, so let's do this. So obviously my favorite tragicomedy has to be The Winter's Tale, because that's the only one we read. Between the historical dramas that we've read, we only read 2. I guess I'll go with King Henry the Fourth. That's what that guy is in it, right? The big fat guy. I don't remember his name. Oh wait, no. King Henry the Sixth is the one that I liked better. I like Talbot. I think that's it. I literally don't remember them at all. I also like the big fat character, but I don't remember which one that's from. We did not spend that much time on those. No one liked history plays. We literally took the 2 history plays off of our final. So, my favorite comedy, I'm gonna still say it's Midsummer Night's Dream. I have such fond memories of Midsummer Night's Dream, and I still really liked it this time around. So, I'm gonna stick with The Midsummer Night's Dream is my favorite comedy. But Twelfth Night is really good. I really like Twelfth Night. And my favorite tragedy. My favorite tragedy I'm actually going to say is Titus Andronicus. I feel like I could talk forever about that book. I loved it so much, and I don't know why. I just really enjoyed it. And I found it fascinating. I like just ridiculous books too. I really like ridiculous. But anyways, I really hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and definitely leave down in the comments what your favorite Shakespeare play is, because I am now so like much more into Shakespeare. I thought I liked Shakespeare before this class, and now I'm like, I love Shakespeare. I'm definitely gonna take a little bit of a break, but I do have plans to finish off all of his plays, considering I made such a dent this semester. I do plan on going and getting the rest of his plays and reading all of them, so. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and I love you all, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye!